Welcome to the All Things Rugby Show, where we are going to be breaking down everything that happened this weekend in the Six Nations. My name is Shanair.
My name's 40, and this is All Things Rugby.
This is where I'm actually going to give you an objective view about rugby and not just cry about Wales being good.
This is where we discover, after last week's predictions, that I was right, and that Shanair does in fact know nothing about rugby.
This is where I'm still confident when it comes to Scotland versus Wales, one team will finish on top.
Oh, this is the weekend that I discovered that sitting within 5 feet of Shanair during a Wales-England game is the lowest level of hell.
This is where Dave supports Wales until they lose and he decides to wear a French top.
Oh, fucking hell. I got nothing else. We'll end on Wales being a disaster. I got nothing. Welcome to the All Things Rugby Show, brought to you by allthingsrugby.com and the Rugby app. Joined, as always, by my co-host and owner of the worst prediction from round one, Shanair Hassan. Shanair, how was the weekend?
I had a great time. I'll be honest with you. I woke up this morning to realise I have become an internet meme now.
Yeah, this is big.
So I'll take that. Obviously, I got to watch England versus Wales with you, which we can talk about later on.
We haven't got to talk about it.
We
haven't got to talk about it. We can talk about it if you like, but it was weird. A Thursday night kickoff starting. It was quite a long weekend, and I normally get one free pass of an evening to watch the games. So trying to stretch that across Thursday, sort of got the brownie points in on Friday to try and free up Saturday. It really complicated things. And Valentine's Day next weekend, I mean, we're really clutching at straws.
I don't have to worry about that one next weekend. So
you say that. I think you're coming soft in your old age.
No. I'm going to be parked up with maybe a few more beverages than I had during the England game as well next week.
No candlelit romance for the rugby?
Well, I said last week I would like to go to Rome for Valentine's Day.
I remember that.
I don't want to go to Rome anymore because that was some serious, right? It was the puddles on the pitch that got me as well.
Well, Big Jim said it should have been called off. Once they got behind, of course, then it should have been called off. But Thursday night, starting in Paris, what was your take from the game?
Look, Thursday night lights. Any excuse for me to watch more rugby, I'm happy with, right? So look, there was a couple of other games on the Friday night that we covered on allthingsrugby.com.
Yep.
We had Kaelan, one of our journalists, at the Ireland A, England A game, which again, we can probably touch on later. There was obviously under-20s that started as well. So my whole weekend was full and I loved it. I watched a little bit of even Rugby Europe last night as well, watching Portugal and Belgium go at it. So yeah, look, for me, it was great. But the biggest moment of the weekend for me wasn't rugby.
Go on.
It was me getting a picture of you and Gary Barlow.
Well, I mean, Gary Barlow.
Where did that come from?
There was a corporate event here. And he came.
Sorry, of course.
My budget Bruce Wayne impression, trying to work during the nights. He did a couple of songs, and we got to meet him backstage. As advertised, he was like the sweetest guy, and he was awesome. So my sort of 90s boy band nostalgia almost got rekindled. I asked for a duet, and he politely declined. But
his loss.
Yeah, it was essentially a room of sort of middle-aged women and me, all fanboying over Gary. But Robbie didn't come out, so it wasn't all roses. But a bizarre Friday night. But
there is so many jokes I could make, but after how many people we insulted last week, I'm gonna try and bite my tongue a little bit more this week, and I'll leave the middle-aged comments alone.
Well, look, our goal, and from speaking to the guys in rugby, we're trying to bring new audiences to our game. So to take that as sphere, there's an opening. Get Gary on the pod.
Yeah. So just on the Thursday night, obviously it was moved because of the Winter Olympics. Have you seen any of the Winter Olympics, Dave?
No. I mean, obviously I recorded the opening ceremony. I can't miss the opening ceremony. And I'm sure the Irish audience and TV audience were really gutted to have that clash. But I mean, I'm not the Summer Olympics. I'm a big sort of supporter of. Winter Olympics. You've heard of my skiing prowess. It's not my forte.
Well, let's get into it. This is our breakdown of everything that's happened this weekend in the Six Nations.
I quite enjoyed a Thursday night game. It was quite, it was different. It was fun, and Paris really do a home game well, and even sort of the pyro, the light show, the way they do the anthems, they've kind of sort of the pure cinema approach to opening the game. And then Les Bleus came out and smoked them. So it was an awesome curtain raiser for the Six Nations. So it was, I was a bit shocked by Ireland. I don't know about you, but France. Oh, it's funny. I had a funny comment from my dad. He said that France are like a 70s team. They've just got small guys at the back, big guys at the front. They all know their job, and they just do it. And it's actually quite interesting where they're the new innovators now. Their entire backline is sort of quote unquote small, you would say. The back three is small, especially in today's game where no escorting and all these things. You got these three relatively small guys, but who are just guns in their own right. And I think it showed Ireland's sort of miles on the clock at that pace, at that game with those guys. But they were special.
So look, that French backline, obviously they have got the perfect blend at the moment of Dupont at Toulouse, Ramos at Toulouse. You've then got the Bordeaux lot of Jalabert, Deportier, and LBB, who, can I just say, I did say he's going to be top try scorer.
Well, the guy that I picked didn't get picked. So that's another clanger from me. But
yeah, but look, that backline is, you've got some of the world's best players there in every position, arguably. And look, someone like Deportier, who's so young coming through now, no one mentioned Fiku in the whole game. LBB and Atasongbo were so good. No one mentioned Pinot. And then even up front, Olivon, Jelonch, they were so good up front. No one mentioned Aldrit. So from a coaching point of view, they nailed it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just, unfortunately, there's so much attention goes to the centres now in international rugby in particular. You look at the Irish centres, they weren't really at the races, and those forwards, the quick ball that Dupont creates, those guys are coming in at lightning speed. It's clean ball all the time. It's fast ball all the time. And then they love that chaos because they're so quick and so agile. Whereas I think Ireland were the systems team. They played to the systems, the Schmidt-Sexton era. And now I think they're coming a bit unstuck. As a Welshman, I'm speaking on sort of very tender eggshells here. But it was... France are such an exciting team to watch, and that sort of rogue approach to rugby has always been a very French thing. But now they have these monster forwards that are securing ball all the time. And yeah, everyone looked exhausted. Everyone in Ireland, or the Ireland squad, just looked absolutely knackered by 30 minutes in.
So you mentioned, obviously, you think it might be them coming to the end of their tether. Obviously, I watched a lot of other rugby this weekend. Their under-20s lost to France, and their A side got absolutely battered by, to be fair, a pretty good England A side, like
a very good England A side.
Yeah, like a lot of caps in there, a lot of players that have either been on the fringe, and a lot of players that are going well in the Prem as well. So there's a lot of talk about, look, is this the time that Faz has now got the Lions? Does he step away? What happens with Rog? Does he come in? Where does that leave? At some point you're going to have to play them, and obviously you're not going well, even though you're now wearing a French shirt.
Oui.
What do you think about kind of next few years of this island setup going into the World Cup?
I don't know. I mean, everyone goes to these transitional phases, and you can't deny Faz's success, relative success to what he's achieved. And I love Rog. L'opportunité, c'est fucking enorme. Get him in, those team talks. But I just don't, I think it's a natural end. And, a lot of their players, the actual age profile of the Irish team is quite old. And I guess, it happens in every sort of international setup, but I guess now is the time, no time like the present, and you're better off doing it when results aren't going well. But it's the first game, right? So France away isn't a cakewalk for anyone. England will find that out last game. But if I was Faz, before you become a parody of yourself, I think I'd want to just go and take the Sarries job. And
last one on Ireland before we move on to the next game. You said about like the age. I've obviously got to watch the Welsh game with you and see how frustrated you are.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what you would have been like as a forward playing behind or in front of Sam Prendergast on the weekend. That volley was, pretty...
But he's become the scapegoat, right? Like, I don't think he's at international standard at the moment, but he is very much a sort of pariah for everything wrong with Irish rugby. But, the ball he's getting is slow. Gibson Park isn't this rock star anymore. And, it's, if you're the quarterback and you haven't got clean ball, it's going to be a tough day. But that rogue sort of maverick style, Ireland have never played that way. They are the systems team.
Yeah, there was one point though for one of the tries. He shaped to dummy the kick, shaped to run, and then he give a little tip. Right now, I obviously have seen him play for the last couple of years at Leinster. Man, he is a true triple threat, right? And he will come good. But yeah, I think there's a lot to be said. Look, they get an opportunity. All due respect, against you and against Italy to maybe not even Italy anymore, but to rotate a few. And there's some good players that they are a little bit younger, but again, his hand was forced to kind of make changes this week. But I can't say I was too upset with watching them lose. I'll be honest with you.
No, I'm agreeing with you there. But then, so the next, obviously, the most iconic moment of the weekend was my prediction being within a sniff of on the money. Scotland, Italy. How was your predictions, mate? Pretty good.
Yeah, look, I'm
the meme, Shania the meme, Hassan.
I'll eat as much humble pie as I need to. All the Italian fans, fair play, well done. Eddie from Spritz and Scrums messaged me privately after he had a few red wines.
Oh wow, yeah, but that was humble.
And I was like, "Yep, fair play. I will take this." But yeah, look, they came out. I thought Scotland would come out of the blocks, right? And the day before, we mentioned it, blue skies. Finn is kicking in this beautiful setting in Rome. And it was like, right, this is geared up. And then Brexancello. Oh my God. And also, like I said, Tom Jordan would be player of the tournament. Yeah. He was left wanting for that first try as well. So look, hands up, Scotland did not perform. And even when the rain come, I was sitting there going, surely, if there is one team that are happy to play in cold, wet conditions.
Yeah, I think Scotland are a sort of walking juxtaposition, right? They're from Scotland, so you assume that they would love playing in the pissing down rain, but also noting that most of their team are from South Africa or Australia doesn't help. Sorry, Scotland, but the reality is that they're and Finn is their quarterback, so they are an open, expansive team, despite coming from the gloomiest, moodiest country on earth. So when the weather does turn, it doesn't play into their favor. And the Italians, the physicality from the Italians, and you see it in the club game as well. People like Danilo Fischetti, these guys are just bangers. And they're another team that know their job. If you're in the type 5, your job is just to bang people the entire time. And as soon as it got wet, and I agree with Big Jim to a certain degree, in our post with the snorkeler, it was grim, that weather. And the guy next to me in the bar was like, what happens if you get your face in the bottom of that mall? Are you going to drown? And I'm like, well, maybe.
You get waterboarded on a pitch.
Be blowing bubbles at least. And but it definitely didn't play in their favor, but their heads went in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, look, I'm going to put it down to one specific thing, and that was that horrendous Scottish kit.
Oh,
that was
Parma Violets.
Man, like they came out wearing it, and I was just like, oh, this ain't going to be a good day. It is horrendous.
But if you're playing at home and you're Italy, you want to play in blue. Has Scotland got a white kit?
Yeah.
Or just the...
But they've got a white kit, but for some reason, rugby's got a very weird rule where, like, domestically, the away team gets to wear the home one, and the home team often has to change if there's a clash. Right. So if you're watching the Premiership or URC, that's how it works. Obviously, international is very different, but yeah, we saw it. We saw, like, Welsh wear white at home, for example.
Yeah, but I always thought it was a way to sell more gear. And if you're going to try and bring out a third kit to sell more gear, I understand. But then don't get a Parma Violet jersey. Well, Wales had it with the canary yellow, 10, 15 years ago. And if the goal was to sell more jerseys, it failed miserably. Unless you want to work on the on road construction, you were never going to wear that jersey. But there's been a couple of clangers along the years of jerseys. But yeah, if I was Scotland, pulling the proud purple of Scotland, it would blow the wind out of your sails before kickoff.
Well, seeing as I've now become a meme on the internet this morning, there's a couple of pictures of me on Stag Do wearing like Stade Francais tops.
Okay.
So I had the one with all of the faces on it.
Yeah.
But obviously they were known as, I think their owner was an Italian, a French Italian art.
Yeah, he's not a collector, I think. But they leaned into the fact that we're doing this on purpose to be, these are pieces of art, these jerseys. It wasn't just bright purple. There's not much logic to that.
My favorite one though, just a bit off topic and rogue, was the England Sevens one. Once had like this orangey flame with like a big tiger cut through it as well. I was like, there we go. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, look, was it Gavin Henson used to say, if you look good, you play good. And ultimately, Scotland, again, correctly predicted Italy would come out firing. But, I just don't. We do this every year with Scotland. This is their year. They're going to be. I saw Ryan Wilson and Big Jim again. If we don't come second, it's a big disappointment. I'm like, man, you've never come second.
Well, the stat that I saw, which really kind of got it, since the 23 World Cup, they've won the same amount of games in Six Nations as Italy.
Oh, yeah, again, glass houses here. I mean, Wales is 2 from 22. So I think that for Scotland, I actually love watching Scotland play. But at the same time, if you look at the highlights from the last 2 or 3 years, they've played some shags in the last 2 or 3 years. They always have a few trophy games where they play some mixed veg from a random country and smoke them. So you see these highlight reel tries and moments, but they have got amazing players. And that's why the hype becomes real, because you see Finn play, you see these guys play at club level. They should be better. But then the time comes, and almost without fail, they shit the bed. And yeah, it is what it is.
Well, talking about shit in the bed and playing random teams.
Don't segue out to Wales.
I'm segueing.
Come on.
Look, I was happy to just sit and watch it and work away, right? But
Right.
You text me, let's just get this straight. You text me saying, I have got a table booked. Do you want to come and watch the games?
Yeah, it was a mistake.
And I was like, well, if you really want to watch England versus Wales with me, I will oblige, because who am I to say no to the boss, right?
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
So, you said you'd win the anthem.
Which I think we did, to be fair. 1-0.
Yeah, I think most teams can win that one against
Yeah.
England.
1-0.
But then I would like to think that you weren't so serious and you thought that it was just more heart talking. But England were always going to get a bonus point at halftime.
Yeah. No, again, it was meant to be sort of tongue in cheek last week, but I didn't think it would be as bad as it was. And that's probably the best way to put it, is that all the talk through the week was about turning up physically and discipline being a big thing, and the discipline under Steve Tandy has been horrendous. The amount of yellow cards and red cards, I think it's 8 yellows and 1 red since he's taken over, which is insane. I didn't think it'd be as bad as it was, and I actually think in the end the scoreline kind of flattered Wales, which is ridiculous when it was sort of keep it under 50. They hit the post with the last kick, thank God.
Yeah, look, I mean, from a discipline point of view, that first half you just kept shooting yourself, right? And then the double yellow card, then you have to take
2 double yellow cards as well.
Yeah, so we obviously went for the scrum. Then you have to take off some backs to fulfill the scrum, like you mentioned last week. We run out wide and we score, right? But yeah, it was a hard watch because you can't really massively enjoy it as well, because it's like you kind of want Wales to be good, right? Like everyone's been saying it for years. You kind of need strong teams, especially up north. The Six Nations is now at a point where especially if Ireland don't fix up soon, we've seen that Scotland haven't got the track record. It's becoming not as competitive as it used to be. Now, I say that very much knowing that next week England are going to Murrayfield to play Scotland and it's Calcutta Cup, right? And that could easily, if Scotland beat England, all of a sudden it's wide open again, right? So look, and we'll get onto the previews next week, but I think it did. I think it flattered them. I think that the England bench didn't have the impact it has done in the past.
Maro told you had some impact.
Well, yeah.
Ran on, classic Maro penalty, ran back off 10 minutes on the sidelines.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say, right?
I will see your Maro Itoje and I will raise you a Tane Plumtree. That guy, he's a liability.
3 matches, 3 yellow cards in a row.
And 3 for the Scarlets. So he's had 6 yellow cards. That's the thing, and I say this all the time to you, that the problem with Wales at the moment is that I would say that rugby in general is the biggest confidence game. And you look at, I said this to you earlier, if you look at the England team, look at the Wales team, give or take 1 or 2, like some of the pack, like Genji and these guys, they're way more physically imposing than our guys. But in the backs, I wouldn't say Eddie James is much smaller or even maybe a bit bigger than Tommy Freeman. But you look at the intent that England run the ball in with. You look at them, they're very good at passing into space, not to the man. And you look at Wales, the confidence is so low. Even Dan Edwards, kick it to the corner, barely hits the 22. Dewi Lake, tap and go, misses the ball. All these things, they become from confidence. Ben Thomas out the back to Zamet, and he throws it flat and misses the... You're like, look, all these things come down to confidence. And when you see our type 5 carrying, and you compare it to France, you compare it to England, they catch it, and then they go. And that confidence comes from having the crap kicked out of you every single week at club level. And the deeper cut of that is that there are too many average players playing professional rugby in Wales that wouldn't be professionals anywhere outside of Wales. And then they get pumped every single week, and then losing becomes a habit because of confidence. And then you're standing in front of 15 white jerseys who are full of confidence, Northampton, these guys, and they're just hitting lines, taking it at full pace, throwing offloads that might not be there. You'll never see that confidence with Wales because we don't have that confidence. It's that's the knock-on effect from having 4 below average teams with below average players, is that losing becomes a habit and low confidence becomes intrinsic to how you play. And in rugby, you just can't do that. So until they actually make that change to make winning a habit, and you'll throw those offloads, you'll go for the 5-meter line, and you'll go into a game, I'm gonna smash that guy. I just don't see that confidence in any of our players at the moment.
Yeah. Well, just to rub some more salt in the wound.
Just what I need.
Obviously, under-20s kicked off this week. And at half-time, Wales are 16-0 up against an England under-20 team that, to be fair, the 2 kind of standout players at the moment that have already broke through, Noah Kalori on the wing, obviously killing it for Sarries, top try scorer in the Prem still, and Lucas Friday, Mike Friday's son, starting scrum half for Quins at the moment, ended up coming back to win 1916. But look, I think Cuffy probably presented it the best this morning on a podcast I was listening to. Like, last year, the under-20s did beat England, right?
Right.
But they get to a point where, again, the teams are so bang average that these guys are getting rushed into professional so early, so quick. And again, it is now losing becomes a habit. Like, one of our journalists who's a Scarlets fan, Hugh Griffin, obviously just completely went silent on the weekend.
Right.
I had to text him privately this morning, just be like, "You're okay, bro?" Like,
But I don't want to bang on too much about Welsh rugby, but
we can if you want.
but the antidote to all those issues, and you see now there's this sort of group of ex-Ospreys. They're all coming forward and saying you can't lose the Ospreys because who are kids going to look up to go and play for? All those guys that are having that conversation, they didn't look up to the Ospreys because it didn't exist. They looked to Neath or Swansea or Pontypridd or Bridgend or whatever it may be. The middle layer of Welsh rugby is gone. The SRC is a joke of a league, 280 clubs that can barely get teams on the weekend. So really, the leap from schoolboys to the Ospreys, Dragons, Scarlets, Blues, it's huge. And then when they go there, they're unequipped and they're getting smashed. And I always have this thing about the mental health of players, where the WRU haven't made a decision. So we need to have 100 professional players in Wales who really aren't professionals playing a game where you can get seriously hurt. They shouldn't be in that arena. They go out, they get paid next to nothing, and then we call them shit for their worries. What are we doing? Like we're actually damaging these young men to a point where we're never going to be competitive because we insist on being non-competitive. And then England is the best example of maybe not the economic model, but at least they have the mill fields. They have these sort of the middle, the Hartbury colleges where Louis Rees-Zammit went to. They have that middle layer where, okay, I'm not going from playing high school rugby to playing for Gloucester. There's a bridge. And that's where I agree with the Ospreys boys and some of the other guys, where the pathways is where the foundational layers and that first layer up is what we have to talk about. Whereas somebody said it on Twitter, watch the WRU now use this spanking as a reason to go down to 3 regions. And I'm like, yeah, 100% they should. But in the context of that money we're saving there, we're putting into this middle gap and try and to build a pyramid as opposed to a totem pole. But it was credit to England. They were, I think, George Ford came out afterwards and said, we were a bit sort of inefficient in areas. And they were, as mad as that sounds. And he was class as well. And I saw Johnny talking about the spiral bomb. I mean, I was never a fullback, but the thought of that spiral bomb, I look, Louis Rees-Zammit just watching it, and it feels like an eternity before it comes down.
Yeah, I thought Zam had a pretty decent game other than that one kind of drop. So just kind of to wrap up kind of this weekend's games, we've obviously just put out our team of the week.
Right.
I haven't put any Welsh or Scottish people in there.
That's fair enough.
One, the stats from the rugby app don't really make anyone look that great. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Look, shout out to Jack Dempsey, for example, from Scotland. He was their top tackler. And, Italy made a lot of tackles in that game. So Dempsey was a standout for Scotland. But is there anyone else kind of that you you would have put towards a team of the week this week?
On the losing side or in general?
I mean, you can pick a standout player. I think standout wise, it's hard because again, other than the Italy-Scotland game, there were landslides, you know?
Yeah. No, to be honest, I agree with your team of the week. It's not, it wouldn't be reasonable to try and shoehorn a Welsh guy in there just to fill up the note in the Lions. You know, it's not always, it's not about diversity and nationality.
Jack Morgan would have made all the difference.
I heard that as well. On the weekend. No, I think I agree with you on Jack Dempsey. I thought he was a sort of shining light in a team getting spanked, especially from number 8 when you're going backwards. I thought Harry Deeves made an impact off the bench for Wales when he came on. And then for Ireland, I didn't see. I think, and same with England, when I guess the finishers, so to speak, aren't really making the impact they used to make, and the games weren't really that tight that they came into. So the Irish bench came on and made a difference. Right? They just went to old school sort of pick and go Irish rugby.
I put Nick Timoney in. I thought Nick Timoney had a very big impact off the bench. Like Cian Prendergast started. Everyone, like I've been a big fan of him. He's been playing really well in URC for a couple of years now. But you've had the likes of Omani that have filled that shirt for 100 plus caps. You know, so look, Nick Timoney come in and did really well off the bench. But yeah, like you'll see on all of our socials the team we've picked. So make sure you comment below. Which leads us nicely onto our next segment.
Yep.
ATR's home and away. So this weekend, we sent our journalist, Ben Jaycock, to HQ. I know you love me calling it HQ. And he was present at the England-Wales game. So here's what he got up to.
Come with me to a day in the life of a rugby journalist with All Things Rugby at England versus Wales. We start off getting into the press room nice and early to catch the early game. I picked up a ref mic, always handy, and a programme before it was time for the most important part of the afternoon, lunch. Having the full Twickenham experience. After lunch, it was time to take my seat in the press box and finish watching Italy cause an upset win over Scotland. Then it was time for the anthems before action kicked off. Allianz Stadium was in full voice with Swing Low Sweet Chariot ringing round HQ in the first half as England led comprehensively at the break. Throughout the game, I was following the Rugby app, where you can find all the important stats on each Six Nations game. A DJ set and light show was the halftime entertainment, and the action continued the same way in the second half, with England securing a 7-try victory. Journalists finding their copy on the whistle would have been pleased that the outcome was sealed so early on, with Henry Arundel sealing his hat-trick after just 35 minutes. After full-time, we walked to the press conference room to catch the thoughts of a very dejected Wales head coach Steve Tandy and captain Dowie Lake.
We disappointed ourselves, mainly. Like first half, where we were ill-disciplined once again, which is really disappointing. Didn't get any foothold in game. We were inaccurate in around the set piece, but we did get opportunities. So yeah, we couldn't create any momentum. So yeah, a bit disappointed.
Jamie George and Steve Borthwick followed in a more buoyant mood, and there was even time to catch up with player of the match George Ford in the mix zone. A terrific afternoon was then rounded off with my article on George's comments making it onto the front page of Sunday's The Rugby paper as the quotes lead.
So obviously I love Twickenham.
Twickers.
I get to go multiple times to watch Quins and England. I know you're not a massive fan of where it is and what to do around there and stuff.
Yeah, I think rugby stadiums were quite spoiled. A lot of them are sort of in the centre of town, or they're, I don't find logistically Twickenham's a bit of a nightmare. And I feel that the crowd that gets attracted to a Twickenham game isn't quite as enthusiastic as some rugby crowds. I'm being as politically correct as I can be.
Oh, you haven't seen me at Twickenham, mate.
It'd be a stand-up. I mean, I've been there as a Welshman when we lose, and it's moderately friendly. But yeah, Twickenham's still a great rugby stadium. It's not HQ. You'll never hear me referring to it as that. But credit to Ben, like going there and experiencing it as a proper fan, not in the cucumber sandwich brigade. It does give you a different lens on things.
The cucumber sandwich brigade.
And I saw like the crack they give against the Scottish when they get pumped and stuff. Like this, I think the walk to Twickenham Stadium is great fun. Yeah. I'll give them that. When you go from the Cabbage Patch and you walk up to Twickenham Stadium.
Shout out to Stu and the Cabbage Patch, by the way. great place to go before a match.
Cabbage Patch is more of a HQ than Twickenham, in my opinion. They've had a few good nights in the Cabbage Patch, but that's a good part of Twickers, and fair play to Ben. I'm glad he embraced all the cultural moments of Twickers.
Yeah. So there was a nice little clip of the England fans in the car park celebrating the Italian win, as they pumped Scotland in the rain, which leads us on nicely to our next segment, which is our ATR socials. So, 40, a few collections for you this week.
All right.
First one being, I don't know if you saw, but the French actually put this out, which made it even more fun because they're not normally up there with their favourite socials. This is Gibson Park. I can only ask, begging for Dupont's shirt afterwards.
By the way, Jalibert is going to be upset. Those got a pair of Christmas Next undies on in the background.
But the best moment of this, just watch Dupont's face when he gets it. Gibson Park is so happy. He's like, oh, can you take a picture on my phone as well? Like,
I'm going to start a petition as well to get professional rugby players to know how to tie a tie. Every rugby player ties their tie like this. No, that's like Christmas morning opening a gift.
Look at what Gibson Park's wearing.
Kiwi. Mate, Kiwi's got a weddings dressed like that. This is a classic Kiwi staple. I mean, everybody wants Dupont's jersey. It's like trying to swap jerseys with Jordan, right? But that is Christmas morning, opening the gift you didn't want. He's holding Gibson Park's jersey.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's going to be putting that one up on his
You don't think?
wall.
Framed on the Dupont.
Yeah. Next up, again, I woke up this morning. It was obviously Sixmas, as we call it. Had a great weekend. Got to have a few bevies with you yesterday. But my phone was popping off this morning as my face had become a meme for our...
Hashtag goals.
Yeah, our prediction last week. So here's that.
Okay, my hot take then is Scotland are going to finish above Ireland.
Yeah, I think we've started well. We've started our predictions period with becoming a laughingstock in the rugby universe. It's off to a belter. Smash Williams production. Shout out Smash Williams for humiliating my co-host. The check's in the post. Don't you worry about that.
I actually, I messaged him as well, and I was like, I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course you did. I messaged him as well and said, you bastard, how could you?
But it's funny that like so many people had sent it to me before I'd even woken up. I was just like, leave me alone, guys. My favourite one for the weekend, and obviously you have Dex, who you love more than probably your allegiance to Wales.
Anything on earth.
We're going to start a new segment called Rassie Watch.
Excellent graphic for Rassie Watch, by the way.
Fantastic. So Rassie, obviously last week we mentioned his new podcast. We mentioned him having a few Brunnis and Cokes and putting out some TikToks. This week he was getting to know his dog a little bit better.
I haven't seen this. Oh, no.
Too far.
Oh,
Too far.
no. Oh, Rassie. I mean, use your teeth, Rassie.
Oh, God.
What is he eating?
I'm guessing popcorn, but...
I mean, look, yeah, I adore my dog, Dexter. He'll be here next week, hopefully. But I'm not going to start making out with him in bed. It's there's levels to my adoration for a dog. And Rassie looks a couple of sheets to the wind there as well. Is that first thing in the morning or last thing at night?
Honestly, I don't know. But every single week, when I see him either tweet something or post a video, I can't wait to watch it just to see what happens. So,
I mean, yeah, that's a strange one, Rassie. I'm a huge Rassie fan, but I don't want to see him making out with his dog
I do
anymore.
think, I did suggest it last night, I don't know if you remember, but I would like to bring Dex into the studio.
And snog him.
Yeah, not my cup of tea, but
You're
anyway.
such a huge Rassie fan. You got to
Now that I haven't got a Valentine's Day for next week, but I want to put treats either side, and that's how we're going to do our predictions.
Oh, the World Cup octopus.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Talking about the World Cup, our last social, it obviously went viral this week. The fixtures for the World Cup in 27 down in Australia have been announced.
Yeah. I know
And
where
we
this is
were
going.
all looking forward to the opening trans game. We were all looking forward to Australia versus New Zealand to open the World Cup. And instead, we've got Australia versus Hong Kong.
It's so bad.
But we have got a Hong Kong shirt in the studio, so maybe we preempted it.
Look, yeah, exactly. Some bad juju. Look, it's no discredit to Hong Kong. I mean, their story's awesome. I'm super happy for Hong Kong and their story. Sort of that underdog story is yet to be written. But curtain raiser on our greatest tournament in Australia. I mean, it's a bit underwhelming, isn't it?
Do you think there was a little bit of a play there?
In what sense?
If they played New Zealand on opening game and they lost, what does that do for the morale in the rest of Australia for the whole tournament?
I don't know. I mean, the tournament itself is, the way it's structured is quite strange anyway. They're almost guaranteed to get through to the next round at least. I just think, you know, the opening ceremony and the opening game is such a pivotal moment to capture sort of interest, to capture audience, all those things. Was the opening game in France, was France, New Zealand?
Yeah, but even before that, there has also been, in Japan, for example, it was a tier 2 team as well. So it's not like it is random. I think it's just because when the draw was done and you've got Dan Carter pulling the balls out as well, and you're like, you know, this could have been a real big sell.
Yeah.
But either way, it's going to be, 6 weeks of a great competition. I've started to have a look at where I'm going, and I'm going to be on Bondi Beach for at least a month. So, if you're not signing off on me going to Hong Kong Sevens, I'm telling you, I'm going to be down reporting in.
Really immersing yourself in Australian culture at Bondi Beach. No Australians
there.
Well,
Well, they've actually just put Sydney. So it's a good excuse for me to just park up on the beach. And
look, Australia's an amazing rugby country. The best part about Australia, and we saw it during the Lions, is how different every territory is with regards to their rugby fandom. And, it'd be, I think, if you're going to park up somewhere, places like Sydney, again, we said last week about Canberra, but going up the East Coast, you can't not have an awesome time in Australia. But if I was in the planning commission for the Australian World Cup, you got to start with the All Blacks. You got to. And, but good for Hong Kong. I mean, you'd imagine they're going to get spanked pretty hard. So maybe that's why they did it as well. For the neutrals, if you're a neutral fan of world rugby, Australia, New Zealand being a 10-point nail biter isn't quite as sort of eye-catching as what will probably be, a sort of South Africa Wales score between Australia and Hong Kong.
So before we move on, if Wales were to play Hong Kong, are you getting a win?
Call it a draw. No, I'm super chuffed for Hong Kong. I spent a lot of time in Hong Kong a couple of years ago, and I think that story will be one of the most sort of, every World Cup, you pick your second favorite team. Japan had their time. Fiji's always up there. I think if you're looking for a second favorite team, Hong Kong's a decent shout. Round 1 in the books. Don't forget to follow along on allthingsrugby.com and be sure to download the rugby app on the Apple Store and Google Play Store to make sure you're up to date in all the stats, all the facts, and all the opinions from this year's Six Nations. Right then, Sinead, so we had a guy at Twickenham giving us the lowdown on a day in the life of an England fan. A good bit of fun now is for me to put you on the spot and to understand, for you to name the best and worst Six Nations countries for these categories.
Okay.
So, and obviously my bias is going to shine through. Number 1, in-stadium experience.
Best and worst?
Best and worst.
Okay, so worst was I went to Ireland versus Italy in Aviva.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's because of the way the stadium cuts down at one side, or you want to talk about like the sandwich brigade. I've never seen so many old men drinking hot toddies.
Really?
And no one was, and it was back when, Ireland won like 60-7 or something like that. But like in terms of an experience in stadium, it was just boring.
Meh.
Yeah, and I've been to a Murrayfield where I'm just surrounded by people just having the best time.
The lads.
Oh, it was just,
And ladies.
It was just, and even the pre-game around that, there's a little hill outside the stadium, which everyone sits on, has a drink. Like Twickenham's obviously.
So hang on, Murrayfield won?
No, just Ireland worst.
Okay. So Dublin worst.
In-game, not
In-game,
Dublin. Dublin was
in-game.
a great night out, but like in-game, and I think it was the combination of the game as well.
Best?
Yeah, look, I'm going to have to say Twickenham.
Oh my
Look,
God.
I love it, right? Because I know where to go, right? So
in the stadium, toilets, burger stand.
But even the whole day, I'm just excited, and whether, like, I've done a box in Twickenham where where 10 of us have chipped in, and we have just had the best day of our life. It's almost like a mini stag do.
Right.
Look how excited I'm getting talking about it.
I can feel it. I can feel the buzz coming off you.
And I think it's a beautiful stadium. Obviously, we were there for a corporate event a couple of months ago, and I just think it is, again, I'm South London, born and bred, so I'm like, that's that is my HQ. So I have to say, Twickenham, I think afterwards they put on a great performance downstairs. There's live music. There's mass karaoke, which I get involved in every single time I'm in Twickenham. I have a great time.
Obviously, I'll politely disagree, but I'll take your word for it. Fans on tour? As far as an away day, if you were to advise somebody to be a fan on tour, what's the worst, the most deflating? Ironically, I've got my opinion. It's the same as your best in stadium experience.
Yeah, look, I think the weather obviously plays a massive part to this, right? So if you are traveling to Scotland and it's cold and it's wet, I know obviously they got it in Rome this weekend, right? But like, no one likes that. No one is having a good time. And it just so happens that the weather up north isn't fantastic.
True.
So.
And the best? Away day, bucket list, recommend it to somebody?
I've not done it, but the Rossbiff boys who write for us, who've been doing Pro de Deux and Top 14 for us, obviously go to France as often as they can. And they say it's cheaper for them to just get the Eurostar, get a few drinks from Waterloo, and then just keep going, right?
Right.
And
it's a theme for this trip. It's all about getting beers on the way.
But it just, their experiences that you have with your friends, like they're the memories that stay at the top of your head the whole time. When you think about rugby, like the game sometimes is just the cherry on the cake, right? Like, and even this weekend, Thursday night, right, there was a video of all the Irish fans getting asked, what do you think about a Thursday in Paris? And they were like, any excuse to drink, we're having a good time. And I was just like, that's what it is about. And I think the idea of going, especially away from the UK in the Six Nations, to go to France,
right,
you can make a weekend out of it, right? Whereas if you were going to go to Twickenham, you might actually even look at the last train home and go, well, maybe I can get back.
Mate, an interesting thing about French fans, there was a lot of French fans at Wales, Scotland last year. And there's a big sort of traveling group of rugby fans from France that just go and watch neutral games, which I was super impressed with. They just love to go just for the love of the game,
Well, to bring it back to Harlequins, like I always do, Bayonne went to the Stoop in the Champions Cup, and Bayonne sent a third team. They travelled mass numbers, and they just did a conga line around the Stoop, collecting cups and drinking. And I was like,
that's how boring the game was.
Well, listen, it was one of Quinn's wins this year. So, look, I think anytime you get to make a whole weekend out of it, right? Like, so, look, we're going Wales, Scotland, right?
Yeah.
I have got 4 days booked in Wales. Like, and I can't wait. I'm going to do the zip line over the stadium. I've got Andrew Ford's messaged me about some pubs and restaurants to go to. Going to obviously another rugby podcast as well, which would be good to go to. So look, I think anytime you get to go and actually do more than a day there, I think it's great. All right, and then over to you. Your best and worst, this one's going to be fun. Fans.
Oh, well, I mean, there's going to be no shocker here. I don't know. That's harsh. Best fans, I would probably say, are the Italians. Only because the vibe, and again, I'm saying this from in Italy, and even when they come, I've seen them in Wales, maybe I've seen them play in Wales. They were so used to losing, they're just there for the vibe. Now that they're winning, they're not arrogant about it either. So best, I'm going to give it to the Italians. Worst, I mean,
say it. Say it.
It's going to be the English. I mean, not because, do I have to give the reasons? Look, the thing with England is that they're everybody's team to beat.
Yep.
And I think the fans wear that like a coat of armor. And then when it comes to these things and they start talking, even now, the worst thing about Wales being so shit is that England are actually pitying us. So it's like, an England fan will put his arm around me. I'm like, get off me. I don't want to talk about it. So England have this sort of air of arrogance, English arrogance about them. So sorry, English fans, alienating another group of rugby fans. But out of the 6, Italy first, England last.
I think you're very lucky that I held my tongue a lot watching the game.
It still wasn't enough.
Okay, and then the last one, best and worst, City for a night out.
Ooh. If this was 10 years ago, I would have said Cardiff. if it was 10 years ago.
Are we talking about the middle-aged jokes again?
Yeah. Back in my day, Cardiff was the best. No, I think the proximity of you can literally do a forward roll out of the Millennium Stadium or Principality Stadium and land in Cardiff nightlife. That makes it a good night out because you're always in amongst the atmosphere. And Dublin, it's a bit far removed from the action. But once you get back into the action, Dublin is such a cool rugby town because every little pub has a guy on a guitar and it's such a good vibe. Whereas Cardiff still has pubs and clubs where really you kind of, there's the rugby bit, then there's the pubs and clubs bit. Whereas with Dublin, you roll out, you're in amongst it, and it's just such a pleasant vibe in Dublin. The worst, I mean, I'm going to say England.
You are, for someone called David, you are really in your anti-English mode, aren't you?
But not because of the English people or whatever. It's Twickenham's location. Like, Cabbage Patch is an awesome rugby pub, but I don't want to be belly to back with an England fan for the last 3 hours of my night. You want to get some breathing space, and there's not many options close to Twickenham. So I would say just based on proximity, France isn't ideal either. Paris, like if it's Stade de France, it's a journey out to some sort of civilization. But yeah, I'd say the rigmarole of waiting for a train or trying to get some transport out of Twickenham to be able to go somewhere you can breathe and have a beer. Happy to be proven wrong. So England Rugby, if you're watching, England Rugby Hospitality, please show me a good time. And I'll happily change my mind. But for now, I'll go Dublin 1, Twickenham last.
Do you know, I went to South Africa versus Argentina in Twickenham a couple of months ago.
Right.
And obviously it was the first time that I've been in Twickenham for a different international game that wasn't England. We had the best time.
Yeah.
Like, the South African fans obviously were just pure South African, right? So they were always up for they were up for a laugh. But the Argentinian fans sang the whole game. And we had such a good, and look, there's a lot of talk. I saw Rob Shaw and Hooley talking about, should they take a Six Nations game to the States, right?
Right.
I think there is a lot to be said about having these pockets of fans that have moved elsewhere and putting on a game there, right? Like, the Argentinians and the Box fans in London, for me, was fantastic.
But I think the Argentinian fans, Argentinian sports fans in general, tend to be the best. They're so enthusiastic, so energetic about their teams. Even for the Football World Cup, I went to the final for that, and they were amazing. But the idea of sending the Six Nations to America, I'm completely against. But I was very much for the R360 model when they were talking about it, where every game becomes a festival of rugby. So you don't have to leave. And that's another way of increasing spending and going to the economics of rugby. But being able to capture fans, so the night out is in the game itself, something we don't do. But NFL, tailgating, post-game game, just follow the Americans. The Americans do it well, but I don't want to take it to America. I want to take what the Americans do to what we do.
40, I'm telling you now, for everyone at home that's been to a match with me, come to Twickenham with me and come and do some karaoke afterwards.
No.
You'll have the time of your life.
Yeah. Okay, so on that topic, blind rankings. Rank these 6 iconic local beers from the Six Nations countries. First up, Kronenbourg 1664.
Oh, terrible,
France.
terrible drink. Absolute terrible drink, but I'm sure there might be a worse one on here that I can think of already. So 5.
Italy, Peroni.
Oh, up there. But again, I know there might be one in there that I'm a little bit of a fan of. So Peroni's definitely a 2.
I mean, you're actually an ambassador for one as we speak.
What can I say?
Wales, Brains bitter.
I've never had one.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I want one.
You haven't lived.
I'll have one in a couple of weeks. Again, I know there's one coming that's worse, but I've already put the French at 5. I haven't had it, so I'm going to go 4.
Scotland, Tennants.
Disgusting, 6.
England, Carling.
Oh, no. What have I done? Might be the worst lager.
What have you got left? 2 and 1?
Oh, no, Peroni was 2.
Oh, okay.
3. Oh, God, Carling. There's so many better British beers, like.
And finally, Ireland, Foster's. I'm joking. Guinness.
Yeah. To get to a point where the Guinness and blackcurrant doesn't even need to be had, and it's still a fantastic drink.
So we have a running joke where we, obviously, all sponsors are welcome, but all he does is drink his Guinness. So all beers are welcome. Guinness is lovely, but there are other beers that we're willing to entertain the commercial agreements with.
Guinness Six Nations, clothing companies that have got Guinness on them, the Art of Football Guinness top. Maybe I'll wear that one next week.
Shania will get a Guinness tattoo, a harp on his ass cheek if Guinness decide to sponsor the rest of the pod.
Deal. Guinness, number one.
Right, recorded that on all cameras. Harp on the ass cheek. Guinness, email us.
Well, 40, if I'm a fan of alcohol and booze, you're a fan of food.
Cheeky bastard.
So I want you to blind rank these iconic dishes.
Okay, I have a gut feeling what Scotland's going to be, so let's keep this reasonable.
Okay. Number one, a cheese and ham crepe.
Is that France? 4.
Baguette was too easy. So carbonara.
I do. A friend of mine makes a banging carbonara. Actually, I'll go 1.
1.
I like a carbonara. I'm a creamy pasta guy.
You carb guy. I'm going to say a cheese toasty, but what I'm actually referring to is a Welsh rarebit.
That's our ham and cheese crepe.
I mean,
ham and cheese on toast. Cheese on toast, Welsh rarebit. I'll put it at 3.
Okay. Well, obviously, best drink, a Guinness beef and stew.
Oh, that's going 2.
2?
Solid 2. What have I got left? 5 and 6.
Oh, you went carbonara at 1, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Haggis, neeps and tatties.
100% 6. Have you tried it?
Yeah.
It is great. Maybe it's mind over matter, but it's grim.
No.
It's grim.
It's your choice.
6.
I'm still arguing with you. Last one, a roast beef and Yorkshire pudding.
That's England, is it? 5. Meh.
You not like a good roast?
I love a good roast. Who doesn't love a good roast? I mean, is that an English thing? I don't know. It's carbonara, definitely 1. Perfect list.
Can I just quickly ask you, is there no more iconic Welsh food than a rarebit, than cheese on toast?
I mean, that's a good point, actually. I don't know what would an iconic Welsh dish be, and who decided cheese on toast was an iconic Welsh dish, but who doesn't love cheese on toast? We just please everybody.
I heard that, well, there's rumours that one of the reasons why it started, because it was actually a tongue-in-cheek joke that the Welsh couldn't afford to eat rabbit. So
that's
it
a joke
became
that was
rarebit.
written by an Englishman.
Yeah, of course.
I'm telling you now, that joke was written by a racist Englishman. Too busy shagging sheep and eating cheese on toast.
That's the soundbite.
Okay, a bit of All Things Rugby trivia, sponsored by allthingsrugby.com and the Rugby app. For all your in-game stats, data, and all the news around the game, make sure you go to allthingsrugby.com and the Rugby app. But you're the expert, so this should be a walk in the park for you. Easy one this week. Can you name the top 5 all-time try scorers in the Six Nations?
All time, or one for each?
All time. 6 nations, not 5 nations, just 6 nations.
So I think Damien Penaud must be in there because he's the France top try scorer. So
Damien Penaud is 4.
All right, there you go.
Solid start. Think more iconic, more legendary.
The little Welsh wonder kid, Shane Williams.
The prefix to Shane Williams then needs more enthusiasm. The legend, the icon, World Player of the Year, Shane Williams. Yes, 3.
God, I'm trying to think of who else.
Think bigger. Not Dan Bigger.
Yeah, I'm definitely not thinking him.
Think bigger with an E. Shane Williams, but bigger.
Shane Williams, but bigger.
Bigger.
Me.
Much bigger.
What, for Wales?
Yeah, you heard me.
Oh, friend of the show.
Big G.
George North.
2. So you're 2, 3, and 4. 2. 23 tries, George North. Shane Williams, 22. Damien Penaud, 17 tries.
Fair play to him.
Legend. Icon.
Wonder how many of those were against England.
Enough. You got 1 and 5.
I'm trying to think if there's anyone.
Do you want clues?
No, not yet. I don't think Scotland would have had anyone there.
Number 5 is Scottish.
Number 5, Scottish.
That's it.
Oh, God, I'm well off then.
More famous for off-field antics than on-field at this present moment.
Oh, Hoggy.
Stuart Hogg, number 5, 16 tries.
That's a great... 16?
16 tries.
I bet most of them against Italy.
Probably.
Yeah.
Number 1 left. Probably one of the most iconic Six Nations players ever.
And not a winger.
Not a winger. Hat trick against these boys.
Yeah, bod.
Brian O'Driscoll. 26 tries, Brian O'Driscoll.
So impressive.
The GOAT.
A lot of Grand Slams, like very good people inside him as well. Like, I mean, he's probably had the best tens.
Unsung hero, Gordon Darcy. Doesn't get any credit for playing inside O'Driscoll all that time, but he made O'Driscoll, or he allowed O'Driscoll to be O'Driscoll, right?
That O'Driscoll Lions advert, that skill that he pulls off.
Oh, I know.
Like just,
yeah,
what a player.
Shout out, Bod, GOAT.
So obviously, I love modern day rugby.
As do I.
You're a little bit more of a statistician than I am. You know, a little bit more about kind of the history and want.
I'm a purist.
So yours is a little bit more appropriate for you.
I like that.
They're all old.
Excellent.
Can you name top 5 most capped Six Nations players?
Alan Wynne.
Correct. He has got 67.
Oof.
That's a lot.
Where is he?
Joint second.
Joint second.
Joint second.
Brian O'Driscoll.
Brian O'Driscoll is technically 4th, 65.
Oh, so they're all around the same. Gethin Jenkins.
Incorrect.
So I've got another 2. One's out now, number 1.
You got number 1, joint second, and then 5th.
Sergio Parise.
Sergio Parise is number 1.
How many?
69.
So Alan Wynne was 2 off. Yeah, sorry,
Bring him
Al.
back. Bring him back.
2 more games, Al. There's 2. I pick Alan Wynne this week. So
And he'd still get in.
he's still getting. So joint second and 5th.
Joint second and 5th.
Give me a nationality.
Not yours.
Not mine.
So the remaining 2 are both Irishmen.
Paul O'Connell.
Nope.
Ooh. Irish, loads of caps. Cian Healy.
Cian Healy is joint second with Alwyn.
Yeah.
On 67.
And loads of caps. Irish, not Bod, not Cian Healy. Rory Best.
Rory Best.
Rory Best. Shout out Rory Best.
Rory Best, 64.
With us in Australia. An absolutely legendary storyteller as well.
Just to put that in context, right? You're playing 5 matches a year, and these lads have been going for over 10 years.
And all forwards, apart from Bod.
Yep.
That's...
Just shout out to Parisi as well. 69 starts.
Oof. And probably 69 finishes as well. Like,
Yeah,
he played the whole
mean-
games. No, I think it's ironic that it's always Wales and Ireland, because that is very much synonymous with where Wales is now, is that a lot of centurions in Wales and Ireland, right? It's harder to get out of the team than get into it. Obviously, Alan Wynne deserved every cap, but yeah, a few hangers on, I reckon.
I think that's a good point. There's a lot to be said there. Like, England got the transition well.
Getting 100 caps for England is no joke. Like, to get that there, that's a serious thing. Getting it for Wales, we had our golden era. We played 13 or 14 Hall of Famers, now we're starting 15 during that time.
But the thing is, if you imagine for the England specific lot, though, they've got Danny Kerr and Ben Youngs were playing at the same time, both got 100 caps. But yet they've still managed to bring through Alex Mitchell, who is arguably one of the best 9s at the moment, right?
But compare Danny Kerr's minutes to Sergio Parise.
Yeah, of course.
It would
But
be
then
night and day.
on the flip side of that, Faz and Ford, and now Fordy's still going, and we're still blessed with the Smiths as well.
How long's Faz been out of the England setup? Has he got a Welsh grandmother? Come on, Faz. Come on, Faz.
This rumour
Come play for Wales, mate.
This rumour about Tom Willis is hurting me.
Is he Welsh?
They're saying that if he plays for Munster, he's got ancestry that can...
So the next pod is going to be sponsored by 23andMe. And any player that might have Welsh ancestry, I'm personally going to sponsor you to find out some Welsh grannies and aunties to come and join the Wales setup, preferably from Tonga, Samoa, any of these countries. I'm not specific, but be sure to apply. Get on allthingsrugby.com.
So, Fordy, before we get to the predictions for this week's games, let's just have a quick recap over last week's predictions.
Just get my prediction crowned back on.
France versus Ireland. You said France by 14.
Yeah.
I said France by 7.
Yeah.
Fair play. You were closer.
And it was a last-minute try, right? Adesogby did me there. Otherwise, I was almost on the money.
Yeah, there was a forward pass and a knock on there, but we're not going to talk about that anyway.
We didn't talk about the French TMO, by the way. The broadcasters in France. Anyway, out having a cup of coffee. Sorry, carry on.
After your referee rant last week, that would have been the whole episode. Okay, Italy versus Scotland. I overshot it a little bit. I said
Bellissimo.
Scotland by 30. You said Italy by 2. Well done.
Never
well
in doubt.
done.
Never in
You
doubt.
predicted the rain.
I did a big rain dance before kickoff to make sure it came in.
And obviously the last one, England versus Wales. You said England by 21. I said England by 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll take that one.
What was it, 31 in the end?
Yeah. Should have been more.
Keep it under 50, boys.
But this week's games, we're starting off with Ireland versus Italy.
In Dublin.
In Dublin.
Lightning isn't going to strike twice. I think Ireland, after getting their pants pulled down against the French, at home, bit more atmos. I think the adrenaline crash from the Italians, I think it'd be Ireland by 18.
Oh, so you're not so confident with Italy this week, are you?
I'm a realist.
Do you not think Ireland might completely just rotate this week?
No, I don't think so. I think they'll give Italy too much respect, rightly so. I'd be intrigued to see if the Prendergast experiment is going to keep going. I personally wouldn't, especially against Italy, who are going to line speed them to death. You know, Lamaro, oh my God, like just blitzing. But I think Ireland, the weather won't be as horrific as it was in Italy on the weekend. I just don't see. I don't see Italy backing it up week on week, especially in Dublin. And I think Ireland have a bit of the sort of All Blacks mentality about them, where if they get spanked once, they tend to come back quite aggressive. But yeah, I think Ireland by 18.
No.
No, I think like that. Just a stonewall no.
Yeah, look, I have to accept what I predicted last week and go, actually, I think Italy played very, very well as Scotland not playing great. So I think Italy will turn up. And I don't know if Ireland do have enough. And I think he'll rotate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to... I think he's going to underplay how good Italy are. And I think Italy will play on that all week. So...
When's the rest of the squad back for Ireland? When are the Keenans and the Furlongs and when are they back?
Not till probably after the fallow week.
Right. Yeah, it'll come down to selection. I mean, yeah, game plan will be everything, but what's your prediction?
I'm going to go Ireland by 12.
Well, we're on the same page-ish.
Yeah, I just think I think Italy, if they do anything like they did, fair play.
Yeah. All right, close enough.
Second game, the Calcutta Cup at Murrayfield.
When was the last time England won there? In the rain with Genji pick and go.
Yeah, and it was probably not as bad as the Rome weather, but it was one of those game for the traditionalists.
I will go for an England spanking. I think it'll be England by 24.
God, I'm in a hard one here. I have talked up Scotland so much.
Yeah, this is where you finally admit you didn't know anything.
Oh, I don't know. Surely Scotland aren't going to put a bad performance at home. And this is the game every year they're up for. Like you said it, right? Everyone wants to beat England.
Yeah, but still, I just don't see it.
I'm going to say England by a score. I'm going to say...
tight.
Yeah, I'm going to say England by 7.
Side note, we need to have another discussion about the amount of trophies that are given away at the end of games.
God.
Calcutta Cup, Calcutta Cup's got some history. There's a bit of legacy there. Italy won the Dolmio Cup on the weekend. What the every game has a trophy. They lifted it up like it was the World Cup.
Lamaro lifting that trophy
Painful.
He lifted that the same as Sia lifted the 2019 one.
The level of cringe. And Wales have it as well. We had the Parker pen and just no more trophies. You're killing the actual value of the Calcutta Cup is a big historical thing. The Ireland-Italy will be something else, the Carbonara Cup. And we have to move away from giving every game a trophy.
I think our trophy is going to be how many people we can offend week on week, to be honest. Okay, what did you go for?
England by 24.
Okay, right. And last one. Again, I don't know how you're going to do this. You're wearing a French top.
Je m'appelle David.
So this is
France by... What's French for by? I don't know.
But this is also just... I think it's Sunday this week.
Oh, so France have like 9 days off.
Yeah. So
not that it matters. They could do it in the same morning.
Just bring them out after.
Yes, let's go back to back. I think it's going to be grim. I really think it's going to be grim. I don't know what the retaliation will be from the spanking they got against England, but I don't even know. I'd say the people that haven't been picked in the squad would be the people that would change the picture for Wales. And again, that confidence thing I was telling you about, an unconfident team against France, when you've got 8 sort of raging banshees coming around the corner all the time and Dupont just feeding these animals. And then you've got to then be out wide and, even the mentality confidence-wise to give a Frenchman the outside at the moment, to give them the time. Wales just don't have that. And I think France know that. And confidence isn't an issue for the French. I see a fairly similar scoreline to this weekend, to be honest. I think it could be, God, I feel bad even saying it, but I think it'll be France by 36.
Yeah, I'm going to put my neck out a little bit more. I think more.
More than 36.
Man, that French pack.
Oh, mate.
The post-contact meters. Maybe we have a little side bet. We're on the rugby app, we're going to see who gets more post-contact meters against Ireland, which they actually battered people, or this week. Oh, my God. Like, imagine they're going to bring on Maafu, 140 kegs, going round the corner against a tired Alex Mann.
That's why I don't understand. Like, what is the... I can tell you this is how France are going to play. You know it now. We don't even know who they're going to pick, but we know how they're going to play. And we know that Wales can't deal with how they're going to play. I can't tell you for the life of me how Wales are going to try and attack this game with the players they've got. They've kind of, and I say this all the time, they've put 15 players together and then said, can you 15 players play this way? Rather than saying, this is how we play, and I'm going to get players that do that. And if that was the case, like Wales could go full Sean Edwards and pick a team to play against France a certain way, but then you'd get Jake Ball back in, you get Ross Moriarty back in, you'd be getting some, you can't have a Dan Edwards and a Sam Costello without a target 12, so you'd probably bring Eddie James into 12 or Hawkins into 12 so because we have no identity and they're sort of, square-shaped pegs and round-shaped holes with no plan, I'll go 36 and you're going 50 plus.
I think if you lost to England by 31, it's going to be...
I was away, though.
Oh, man. I think
the 16th man of the millennium.
I'll go France by, 41 or plus.
This is a bit of the Price is Right. You're going 1 point above me here.
Oh, I'll push it to 50 then. There 50? You go.
All right, 50
I can
plus.
easily see this might be probably the stat for next week. Biggest win.
Yeah?
I don't think Italy at their worst were as bad as you are now. And I don't think Ireland at their best were as good as France now.
Yeah.
So I think that gap.
So where would you put France, this French team, against the Springbok team from the autumn? Par?
No, because I think wearing the Springbok jersey means more to them. So it used to be with you lot. Everyone used to say that, like, you put on that Welsh jersey, you get an extra 10%, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what the Boks have at the moment. And I think there's not another team that has that to the level that they have at the moment. But I just think this French team, man, the way they move the ball laterally, right? Like, to fix defenders and actually give the pass, like, and they can still do the jouet stuff, and they can still do the flair, and they can do the physical stuff.
Yeah. I'm not sure I buy that sort of Springbok jersey stuff because, again,
Do you remember the score against them?
No. I'm not saying they're amazing. I'm not saying they're not amazing. And I agree with you that they have this weird sort of superpower when they put the cloak on. But when you watch like the Chasing the Sun documentaries and Nina Arbor is like, pretend your mum is beyond the back line. And you're protecting your mum. And you're like, bro, do me a favor. You can do that in Wales. Imagine being at a team meeting in Wales. All right, but imagine your dad's behind you. And you got to be careful now. Because otherwise he's going to get hurt, isn't he? He'd say, fuck, shut up. I'm not listening to this guy talk,
Oh, my.
So, who haven't we offended today? That's the
God.
Springboks. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you that the Springboks do grow an extra few inches, but I would say France and South Africa on their day are sort of at parity with each other, and the Springboks put 70 on us 4 months ago. So
yeah, I'll go France by 50.
Nice. I'll be crying into a Guinness. Other beers are available by about 6 p.m. on Sunday.
Well, you might need a glass of red wine at the moment. Wilson, you're Ford?
Monsieur
Ford?
Je ne comprends pas.
My God.
Parlez-vous français? Yeah. A good week in the Six Nations, a good week digesting it all. Be sure to follow along, allthingsrugby.com.
So, Monsieur Ford.
Merci.
Can I also just mention, you escaped the bar, you paid your tab and left straight away, like...
Yesterday,
Yeah.
the art of a depressed Welsh smoke bomb. Yeah, a good weekend. I really enjoyed it. The curtain raiser on the topic of Australia, Hong Kong. That curtain raiser for the Six Nations was banging. It was right on, exactly what everybody needed to get up for it. And then the drama of Italy, Scotland, and then the demolition of Wales. That's about as far as a Six Nations bingo card. Can't expect much.
Are you going to be allowed to watch Saturday and Sunday games next week?
No. I'm no, absolutely not. Valentine's Day, yeah. So, yeah, if I manage to watch the games on Valentine's Day, then I'll definitely watch the games the day after, because I would have been easily dumped that day for choosing rugby over Valentine's. I'm actually going to John Mayer on Sunday. So,
yeah,
John Mayer, come on the pod on Monday morning.
It's all right. You're only going to miss Wales versus France anyway. So,
yeah, it's probably one to miss. But it's been a great. It was as advertised, Six Nations. Super happy that it's back on. And yeah, kudos to all the guys for allthingsrugby.com. And it's great to see the rugby app taking off and people using it and getting involved with all the data and all the editorials and stuff. So it's thank you for all the feedback. Get in the comments, like, follow, subscribe, keep commenting, keep giving us the feedback. It's the only way that we get better. And the more that you interact, the more you engage, the more me and Shania can rip each other. And then I will use whatever money we make from this to reinvest in the Welsh rugby system. I'm joking, but nah, a great week.
Good. For everyone at home, thank you again for all the comments. Thank you very much for watching. This has been All Things Rugby.
Ain't no way